Gordon, for many people on the Atlantic coast, Labor Day weekend was wet, windy, and dangerous thanks to the heavy rain and strong winds from the powerful storm Hermine. And it may strike again in the Northeast. Dale Hurd has the story.
Former Hurricane Hermine killed 2 people after coming ashore in Florida, then continued up the coast and battered the Northeast.
You can feel it in the house when the waves hit, the pilings shake.
Now a post-tropical cyclone out in the Atlantic, the former hurricane is churning up dangerous waves and potentially life-threatening rip currents.
Lifeguards have been very, very careful with keeping people out of the water.
Governors along the eastern seaboard have taken emergency precautions. New York City beaches are shut down for the 2nd day in a row. New Jersey has declared a state of emergency in some coastal counties. Crews have been working through the weekend building up sand dunes to keep the storm surge at bay.
Absolutely ferocious.
Hermine slammed into Florida Friday as a Category 1 hurricane with 80-mile-per-hour winds, knocking down trees and power lines and causing death.
I look out my window and we have an ocean on our front porch.
Florida Governor Rick Scott spent Sunday morning meeting with emergency managers in flooded Pasco County, where rising waters forced several evacuations.
There is a lot of water that still has to move through our county, and so we're not out of the woods yet.
After it left Florida, Hermine delivered high winds and torrential rain to Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia, leaving some entire neighborhoods underwater and creating this giant sinkhole in Wilmington, North Carolina. Hermine remains a powerful storm sitting off the coast of New England like a bad guest who won't leave. Officials are urging people to use caution and stay out of the water as the threat of potentially deadly rip currents remains extremely high. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Labor Day marks the traditional start of the presidential election campaign, and Donald Trump kept up his outreach to minority voters by visiting a church in Detroit in order, as he said, to learn. He promised to fix what he called many wrongs facing African Americans. Trump swayed to songs of worship, read scripture, and donned a Jewish prayer shawl during Saturday's visit to Great Faith Ministries International.
I am here to listen to you. I fully understand that the African American community has suffered from discrimination and that there are many wrongs that must still be made right.
Trump praised the black church as the conscience of our country, and he said the nation needs a civil rights agenda for our time. Another missile test by North Korea. The communist nation fired 3 suspected medium-range missiles today. They traveled about 620 miles and landed near Japan. It was an apparent show of force tied to the G20 economic summit going on in China now, according to officials in Seoul, South Korea. North Korea has carried out a series of missile tests recently with increasing range. The tests have been part of a program that aims to eventually build long-range nuclear missiles capable of reaching the United States mainland. In late August, the UN Security Council strongly condemned 4 North Korean ballistic missile launches in July and August. It called them grave violations of a ban on all ballistic missile activity. Here at home, a much more positive story. A church in Virginia Beach, Virginia is both growing and giving back. We're talking about produce, homegrown fruits and vegetables. Here's a look at this healthy outreach. Gardening is much more than a pastime at Nimmo United Methodist Church. The large, flourishing gardens on the church property are the products of hard work and prayer. Garden coordinator Melody Jeffrey has prayed very specific prayers.
Help us get volunteers, help us have the things we need, help me with knowledge and discernment, because like I said, I didn't know gardening and I was a little bit afraid.
Melody says God has been faithful. The bounty in this garden, known as the Victory Garden, includes vegetables, fruits, and herbs.
We provide the food. It all goes out to food pantries, and we realized they just wanted the basics. We do really basic things that people could eat without cooking, or they could simply prepare.
Melody and her volunteers garden organically, meaning they don't use pesticides or herbicides other than natural ones.
I really enjoy it. I love being outdoors, and I also love giving back. So it's been a nice mix for me.
In addition to providing food for local pantries, they also serve the community in monthly Field to Fork dinners. Lisa Renz is the co-chairman of missions and outreach for the church.
All the meals are very healthy. They taste fabulous. And we have had people not just from our own church, but from around the community come out and eat. And so we're able to share dinner with a wide array of people we otherwise would not have met.
It's probably 2/3 community, 1/3 the church, because we're not billing it as a church dinner, and we charge just to cover our costs. But by making it that way, people are inviting their friends.
The Victory Garden isn't the only outreach here. The church also has this. It's called a community garden, where families have plots to grow their own food.
We eat beans like all day long. The beans just grow and grow and grow. And now the tomatoes are starting to take off, so we're getting lots.
Garden volunteer Fred Osterreich planted a cross near the gardens.
And this is why we have the cross out there to signify, you know, this is where it all started. This is how we do things, and it comes from the cross.
My faith in Jesus really motivates what I'm doing here.
Growing and giving. The mission here is simple.
There you go. You put those in the basket.
And rewarding for both givers and receivers. What a neat ministry there. Well, those are today's top stories from CBN News.